This will probably be the absolute worst thing that's ever happened or I've ever done to my grass. What it is behind me here in that little strip of side yard. Don't confuse it with side piece because it's not. But what I did while I was doing the front yard on this side yard is I planted some Kentucky bluegrass there to turn that into a little Bluemuda experiment. And that's why I think things aren't going to go very well, but there's that slim chance they could, because this is going to be a nightmare to deal with. And that's why I chose a small spot, because it can get very complicated very fast and is going to require a lot of thought and insight and just planning to make sure I can have the Bermuda thrive, the Kentucky bluegrass thrive, and everything look good. Before we get into the nitty gritty, why did I do this? Well, I did it for that pursuit of like year-round green. So what I've been doing is overseeding. Overseeded last year, didn't turn out okay. Overseeded this year, still didn't turn out okay. I missed some spots again, oops. But that gives me year-round green. However, there's downsides to that, being one, I have to overseed every year like it's a tall fescue lawn, and no one likes tall fescue lawns because you have to overseed every year. So Bluemuda gives me an opportunity to not have to do that. As long as I get all my other practices right, everything should, in theory, work out okay. So how is someone supposed to go about like getting a Bluemuda lawn? If you Google it, there's not really a whole lot of information. There's like a company that has the pseudo patented that will install it via sod for you. The information though for a homeowner is virtually non-existent. So I really didn't know where to begin on it. But what I did was, since I already had an established Bermuda, I went ahead and seeded the Kentucky bluegrass into that. Now, other people have tried doing like an all-in-one spring seeding to where they'll do both the Kentucky bluegrass and the Bermuda at the same time to get things going at the same time. The way I did it was a little bit of a challenge. I say it was a challenge because I planted the seed in August. That's like prime time Bermuda growing weather. It's just growing. So I needed to slow that down. So how did I slow it down? Well, I went to my trusty friend T-Nex, slapped it down, and put the grass in its place. Slowed that growth, the top growth, to a halt. At the same time I did that, I scalped it a day later to make sure everything gets absorbed, and then I applied tenacity. Now you may be wondering, why would I apply tenacity? It's not labeled for Bermuda. It can actually negatively impact Bermuda, and that was the entire goal. I used it as a pseudo growth regulator as well, to just kind of further hurt and ding things, to give the Kentucky bluegrass, because I'm using that HGT, it's a hybrid, so it germinates quickly, time to pop its little head up. So far it's actually, I guess, progressing as well as it could. We've had a couple nights at freezing or slightly below, and I've noticed the Bermuda's starting to purple out, and it'll be brown here probably in the next 2 weeks, especially after the prolonged cold we have the next 3 days. But at the same time, that Kentucky bluegrass is starting to show up more and more. I suspect it will actually start thriving though come late February, early March, when things start warming up here, because we get these little bouts of warmth to where the grass will start growing, but it's not enough prolonged warmth to raise the soil temperatures up to wake the Bermuda up. We don't get that until late April, possibly even into middle May. So that's where it's going to shine, and that's where I'm going to push excessive growth through frequent light applications of fertilizer on the Bluemuda. The biggest challenge, other than me keeping this for the rest of November, is actually going to be like weed prevention. Now I have that pre-emergent part covered. I have my prodiamine. We're all just well to go there. What I'm going to run into though is what happens if I have to do any post-emergent weed control. I have a warm season grass, the Bermuda there, where I have special herbicides, you know, like Celsius, Certainty, Monument, all those good things to take care of weeds that I don't want in there. And that includes, you know, things like tall fescue and ryegrass and stuff like that. I had to use Monument back here to kill the perennial rye this season. So I can't use some of those on the Bluemuda. And the Kentucky bluegrass takes, you know, some different herbicides, but it's going to be a very tough challenge that is going to require some thought and timing. I say timing because my go-to herbicide is probably going to be, you know, something with 2,4-D in it, since I can apply that on both. However, if it starts getting too hot, I can't apply it, and I have to look out for the quinclorac. It is Yukon Bermuda. It does supposedly have some sensitivity. However, studies have come out now and shown that once it's established and it's a couple years old, it's really not bad. So I should be able to get away with using that quinclorac again, because that takes out the crabgrass, and you know I have a strong pressure of crabgrass coming from that part of the yard. So that's about it for the, you know, that side yard I hadn't been talking about, but kind of kept dropping teasers. It's nothing really too exciting. It will be a really, really cool learning experience though, because there's limited information from a homeowner's perspective on a Bluemuda lawn. So I'll be able to collect some of that information and share it with everyone, so we can kind of build a little pool of knowledge over at the Lawn Forum. Herbicides, I don't know what we're gonna do. Fertilizer, it's kind of gonna get what the front gets, and it's gonna like it. We'll see how it goes, and if it doesn't turn out, the plus side is I have enough Monument to kill it all off, and I'm really good at killing grass, just not really good at growing it. I want to thank you all again for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it. We will see how this is going to all turn out over the next like 6 or 7 months, or who knows how long. Hopefully it turns out good, but I just have a sneaky suspicion that it won't, due to I was told not to do this several times. So we're going to find out, because that's what I like to do. I like to find out so you don't have to. Well, you all enjoy, and we will see you again soon.